What's good, y'all? It is Friday, January 9th. My name is Patrick, and you are listening to The Morning Show. This past Wednesday, January 7th, ICE agents were in Minneapolis to conduct what Vice President J.D. Vance has labeled a door-to-door operation to find, detain, and deport quote-unquote criminal illegal aliens residing in the suburb. They were met by protesters on the street. According to Kristi Noem, one of the ICE vehicles got stuck in the snow, I guess, and so they were trying to move it. At that point, one of the protesters who was in her vehicle, Renee Nicole Good, was temporarily slowing down the ICE vehicles that were moving through. I mean, according to the video that I've seen, she is blocking one lane, but the other lane is open. You can see vehicles that have been able to go past. And as she's sitting there, one of the ICE agents approaches her vehicle on the driver's side and grabs her door handle and is allegedly telling her to move. She reverses, puts it in drive, and begins to pull forward and turn the wheel. At this point, another ICE agent begins to approach the car from the front. As he is approaching from the front, she is turning her wheel to the right so that way she can turn up the street and also avoid this ICE agent, which according to DHS policy, they should not be approaching from the front in the first place. Anyways, the video clearly shows that her wheel is turned all the way to the right and that she is moving out of the way of the ICE agent. However, the ICE agent who approached from the front decides to unholster his weapon and proceeds to fire 3 shots, point blank, through the driver's side into Renee Nicole Good's face, murdering her in cold blood. Renee was 37. She leaves behind a wife. She leaves behind 3 children, one of whom was 6. And she also leaves behind their pet, their dog, who I believe was in the car with them. A lot of protests happening in the last 24 hours in response all across the nation. The administration is already labeling Renee a domestic terrorist. They are also saying that they're going to do a full investigation into this and that they will not cooperate with Minnesota state government at all in order to do this investigation. And they are also saying that they are fully behind the the ICE agent who murdered Renee. And they're asking for prayers for this person for, quote unquote, doing his job. This is pretty fucked. And as fucked as it is, Renee Nicole Good is not the first person to have been killed by ICE or to have died in ICE custody or to lose their life via ICE since this began last year. So, since 2025, there have been at least 36 people who have lost their lives to ICE in some form or fashion. And I want to preemptively apologize for any mispronunciations that I have here, but the names of the 36 people who have lost their lives so far are Genry, Ruiz, Guillén, Sarawet, Gezahegn, Dejene, Maxim, Chernyak, Juan Alexis Tineo-Martinez, Brian Garzón-Rayo, Non Nguyen, Marie Ange Blaise, Abelardo Avellaneda Delgado, Jesus Molina-Veya, Johnny Novieto, Isidro Perez, Tien Juan Fan, Chao Feng Gay, Lorenzo Antonio Batres Vargas, Oscar Rascon Duarte, Santos Banegas Reyes, Ishmael Ayala-Uribe, Norland Guzman-Fuentes, Miguel Angel Garcia Medina, Hua Bingje, Leo Cruz-Silva, Hassan Ali Moh'D Salah, Josue Castro Rivera, Gabriel Garcia Aviles, Kai Yin Wong, Francisco Gaspar-Andrés, Pete Sumalo Montejo, Shiraz Fatehale Sakwane, Jean Wilson Brutus, Fuad Said Abdul Kadir, Delvin Francisco Rodriguez, Nenko Stanev Ganchev, Silviero Villegas-Gonzalez, Roberto Carlos Montoya Valdez, Jaime Alanis, Keith Porter Jr. Keith Porter Jr., that last one, we are just learning about 7-8 days late, as this is just now being reported on. He was a black man killed in California by an off-duty ICE agent. The list of names that I just read off, I saw posted by a friend of mine on Instagram. Shout out to Caitlin Beal. And I'm going to include a link or links to where these names have been reported on, so that way y'all can tap in with that as well. This is part of a much larger, almost impossibly long list of people who have been killed by state violence. I'm thinking about George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Drayshawn Reed, Mikhail Rose, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, so many more people. And here's the thing. All of the names I just listed, not white. I saw a white woman post something like this on Threads that read something to the effect of, this is why we don't fight back more or protest more or escalate our protests more, because the police will shoot us in the face. That's what she said. And she got rightfully dragged in the comments because at the end of the day, that take, super privileged. Super, super privileged take. Super, super missing the point of all of this. Because here's the thing. If your activism does not include the explicit understanding that to act or resist or fight back comes with the risk of losing your life, then it's not really activism. It's performance. Because if you know anything about history, then you'll know that black and brown people have been risking their lives every single day since this country's foundation just to be alive. And on top of just wanting to live, an impossible number of people, black and brown specifically, have been murdered because they chose to act, resist, and fight for their right not just to live, but to be treated as human beings. Just to be treated as human beings. The fact of the matter, the truth, is that nobody is safe right now. And I don't say that to be an alarmist or to be fatalist or to be supremely pessimistic. I say it to be realistic. Because at the end of the day, I think I am a realist, if not a bit of an optimist. And I know this episode is a little bit shorter, but I don't really have anything else to say other than the stuff that I'm going to share in the show notes that I think y'all should tap in with. but I'm going to end with this. I saw another person post something about how they do, or about the advocacy and activism work that they do, and that they don't do that work because they're not afraid, or they have no fear, or they are fearless, but they do it because they are afraid, and they do feel that fear. And even in the midst of that fear, they choose to do the work and show up anyways. Because to not do so is to resign yourself, resign ourselves to the reality that we're currently living in. And it doesn't have to be this way. And so that's the mindset that I'm kind of taking with me as I go forward into the weekend, into next week, as we continue to see the fallout play out. It's that we all have the ability to overcome great fear. Shout out to the Green Lantern Corps. Okay, so for all of my comic book fans, DC specifically for this, I have been a fan of the Green Lantern Corps for a long time. Not one specific Green Lantern or Lantern that I feel like is one of my favorites, but just overall. I've been a fan of that part of the comic world, of that part of the DC universe. And the Green Lantern Corps, their strength, or their part of the emotional spectrum, which is green, is willpower. And it's willpower, and people are chosen to become a Green Lantern because the Green Lantern rings recognize that that individual has the ability to overcome great fear. The thing about overcoming great fear is that it doesn't mean there is an absence of fear. It also doesn't mean that we erase the fear or fears that we have. It means that in addition to the fears that we already have, the fears that we carry, the capacity that we have to be afraid, we also have an incredible capacity, an overwhelming capacity for compassion, for courage, and maybe most importantly, for community. Because, and this is one of my favorite things, the Green Lantern Corps is not about the Green Lantern individual, although a lot of stories are written about individual Green Lanterns or other lanterns across the spectrum. The Green Lantern Corps' true power is in that very last word, the core. Because while individual lanterns are powerful in their own right, they become exponentially more powerful and have greater impact on the universe that they are meant to protect when they operate and come together as a group. And so that's what I am taking with me as we go forward here. That we have the capacity for incredible amounts of compassion and courage and community, and that we can carry that with us to overcome any fears that might stand in our way. Not that we are erasing it. Not that there isn't a fear, because there is. And I hate to say it, but again, nobody is safe. And the only way we can ever get through any of this is if we do it together, is if we do it in community with each other. As we enter the weekend, I hope that you find the rest, the love, the people that you need, when you need them, where you need them. And I hope that acts as a boon for your activation in this resistance to fascism, to tyranny, to everything that we see going on right now. Because we have the ability to overcome great fear, and we will do that together. I hope your weekend's what you need it to be. And I've been Patrick Armstrong. I'll see you on Monday.